I know some people may feel trapped or hopeless when it comes to sex, dealing with sexual struggles, things that's related to sex. First off, I just want to say, you are not hopeless. It's not something that just has to be. That's 100% false, no matter what. Even if something that you're dealing with, something else that people would say and related to sex, right? Sex is natural, right? That's part of the reason why people feel like something related to sex that they might be dealing with, struggling with, hey, there's nothing you could do about it. Sex is natural. Like I said in another video I made called Sex, Man versus Lion. Appetite is natural as well, but that doesn't mean it can't be under control, and that doesn't mean if it's not under control, if it's not groomed properly, that chaos can't ensue. It can wreck your life. It can cause you to have complications and issues that you are not supposed to have, right? An appetite is natural. A sex drive is natural. It doesn't mean that it can't be under control, and it doesn't mean any bad things that's associated with these things that come from it from being out of control just have to be. One thing you don't want to do is, be Superman or Superwoman and just sit there and just deal with the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that you having sexually, right? Sometimes you got to know how to fight your battle. If an 18-wheeler is driving down the street real fast and is, bumping into things, knocking things out of the way, you don't jump in front of that 18-wheeler, put your hands on the grill and try to stop it, right? You're going to get ran over. What you do is you step to the side and let that thing just run out of gas till it stops. That's the same thing you need to do if you're struggling with things of sex. You avoid certain things. You flee from certain things. You be in certain environments, taking it and start taking the things that's not conducive to feeding that desire, right? You don't just stand there and say I can go anywhere, I can watch anything, I can do anything, knowing that these things have sexual attachments to them, and you might be struggling in that area, and then just feel like you can deal with it, or just sit somewhere by yourself and just try to just tough it out, stare at a brick wall and just try to tough it out and take on these thoughts. No, guard yourself from it, right? You can guard yourself from it in a lot of different ways. Yeah, you can find healthy distractions. You can find people. I don't need to be around these people. I don't need to. I need to be around these people. I need to do this. I need to do that. Hey, just go out and take a jog. Hey, just taking something. They got a lot of different ways to go about, conducting yourself in them battles. You got to be on the defensive. You got to slip punches. You got to dip. You got to bob. You got to weave. You don't just take them punches to the face. You may say, hey, I need to get off social media. You may say, you know what? I need to get rid of my social media account. You may need to even get rid of your smartphone for a period of time, however long a period of time that is. Some people may agree with that. And some people may say, oh, that is going too far, man. I got, delete the whole social media account. I'm get rid of your smartphone for a while. I mean, come on, man. And the reason why, and I'm not trying to down talk nobody or demean nobody, but the reason why, if somebody say, hey, you need to do this, guard yourself from sex. You need to do this to guard yourself from sex. Hey, you might get rid of the smartphone. Might need to do this, might need to do that. Hey, you might can't be friends with that person no more. The reason why people think that's an extreme measure is because in the society that we live in, sex is just another thing. Sex and romance is just another thing to do. If you're a certain age, or you should have had sex by now. Why? You see all these heartbreaks happening. You might have been a victim of some heartbreaks. You see that you're not able to be faithful to somebody. You see somebody wasn't able to be faithful to you, right? Hardcore important things that can mess around, change that stuff like that can change somebody's life permanently if they don't deal with those issues accordingly. Stuff like that can change a family. Stuff like that can have generational effects. That's the type of stuff that we talking about. Now, to some of y'all, this might seem overdone or petty, but I'm just trying to give you a heads up. Kissing, you may need to cut off kissing, right? Because look, if you really get down to it, I know it's just looked at as just another thing. kissing somebody is really the beginning of foreplay. I'm just saying, right? That's how a lot of people start getting in the mood. You might end up hugging whoever you with. Y'all start kissing, rolling around, touching each other's shoulders, back or whatever. Next thing you know, somebody doing this, right? That's foreplay, right? Of course, we know what foreplay is. It's stuff that you do that predates sex to, kind of get you worked up or get you in the mood, right? You may have to say, I'm not going to be kissing, right? You know what I'm saying? Because look, think about it. If you just do foreplay, it'll get you worked up and get you in the mood, and you just have those leftover feelings there that you can't even do nothing about, right? So maybe that may be something that you say, you know what, this is not something that I need to be doing. I don't need to just get worked. If I'm trying to, wean myself off being trapped sexually or sexually, I don't need to just say, well, you know what, let me kind of go. It's like going to a bakery and you on a diet, right? Go back to this appetite thing. It's like going to a bakery on a diet, right? You take your walk, you're trying to lose weight, and you purposely keep going around a bakery just to like smell, boy, they be making them donuts in there, boy, I ain't gonna, every day. And you just make sure you just keep getting consumed with that thing that got you overweight and needing to work out in the first place anyway, right? That wouldn't be conducive to what you're trying to do. It'll just keep you consumed and keep you constantly tempted to want to go grab your donut. You know what I'm saying? Kissing, rubbing, all that's the beginning of foreplay. You have foreplay to get you in the mood to have sex. Same thing with porn, same thing, masturbation. I mean, sex, that's a sex act without a partner. It's going to keep you, that's just what it is. It's going to keep you there. It's going to keep you, it can keep you lusting after people. Porn is literally, you are watching people have sex. You are consuming yourself with that. It's keeping you lusting after people. Sexually, it's keeping you consumed with that. It's just like say the person that's trying to go on a diet. It's just like that. So don't overlook those things. Just because this world that we live in, make it like it's just another thing. I talked about this, I believe, in a video I made called Sex should be the end result. The end result. What do I mean when I say sex should be the end result? Right. And look, sex, romance, right? You start off dealing with someone in these two lanes. These two lanes are attached at the hip, but you start off dealing with everybody on a base level. I'm not saying you gave your complete heart to them right away, but you start dealing with them first in that lane, that emotional lane, which would be in that more romance lane, right? How you doing? Nice to meet you. Let's go on a date. This and that, that's and so, this is a nice woman, this is a nice guy. You're dealing with them in that romance lane first, right? The reason why that emotional, that romance lane, it's the one that you're leading with first, is because it's out of the two, out of that sex lane and out of that romance lane. It's the less personal, less vulnerable out of the two, right? Think of the actual sex act, right? You have to get butt naked. You have to take off your clothes and link up with this person. Getting nude and being around some person and entering them or having them enter you, it's a very vulnerable, very private, very personal act, right? That's why that's supposed to be last. You go to the doctor's office and sometimes you have to disrobe in front of that doctor, you still uncomfortable, right? So that, I know in this world we live in, it's nothing to see somebody walking down the street twerking. I know in the world that we live in, it's nothing for somebody to leak out and say, I know. Stop thinking like how the world got this set up. When you just operating on like that, just that base level. Both of these things can bring some level of pleasure. Okay, we're going to be talking about sex right now. Literally the act of sex, right? A lot of times people just operating off just the pleasure of that, right? Whether if you're a woman, you see a man who has a good job, right? That's under that provider. As a man, you know, you want a man who can provide, right? So you might see a man who have a good job. You may physically like the way the man look. The man side, they're attracted to certain things too. I like her physical frame, right? Or I like that she seems loyal, she seems supportive, you know. She'll get behind you, she'll have your back. Those things can be attracted to for a man who dealing with a woman. Just to name a few things. When sex isn't the end result for you, and you see somebody who have those things, you will let sex jump the line and attach itself to one of those traits that you like. And now you're dealing with somebody sexually who you shouldn't be butt naked with, nude, linked up with having him entering you or you entering her. But this is this very extremely vulnerable, emotional, private act. Then jump the line because it attached itself to one of those traits that you would want to have that with, that it then attached itself to one of those things that you like in a potential partner. Right? And since sex not your end result, although it should be, you had sex with somebody who had one of those traits. And that level of commitment that courting and romance is supposed to bring, that's been skipped over, right? The courting, the romance. Okay, I can see that this person can do this. I can see that she can do this. We like each other, we this and that, blah, blah, blah. Then you're supposed to have this, when married, then you're supposed to have this romantic, this vulnerable, completely nude, linked up with each other, being entering somebody, situation take place, right? You can't let it jump the line. When you let it jump the line and just attach itself to a particular trait, that's how all this stuff ensue. That don't mean that person is committed to you. That don't mean you are committed to that person. You may know you're not committed to that person because you may be operating in it from just a pure pleasure point of view, filling the void point of view, or I like that trait point of view. I want to get something from him point of view. I want to get something from that woman point of view. See, we have to acknowledge if that's how we operating. We can't just complain about sex and romance, stuff like that, or wonder why you may be trapped or stuck and having addiction. Yeah, how was you using it though? You know, did you just let it attach itself to one of those traits that you like? Were you filling the void and misusing, sex instead of letting it be the end result of a full relationship that showed commitment, that showed this, that showed that? I wasn't using this relationship to try to fill no void. I wasn't using this relationship for pure pleasure purposes. I'm doing this, for real. I'm trying to really get to be with this person, build a family with this person, and teach them and bring them up the right way. Stuff like that. If you ain't been operating like that, and you let sex jump the line, it's a recipe for sexual trap, sexual struggle, sexual addiction. No matter what society say. You can't just have sex and that's it. I got a video called Dating Wars. Check that out. You can't just have sex and then that's it. Other things inside of you, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, is attached to your sex drive and is attached to romance. So those things are being dragged along whenever you have that encounter. And it's impacting you and the people you deal with in one way, shape, or form. Like I said, if you can't be faithful in a relationship, or you got a spouse who's cheating on you, or you allow yourself to be mistreated because you're trying to fill the void sexually or emotionally. Or if you don't have a partner, you're just going around sleeping with different people for the sake of, pleasing that ungroomed or that out of control sex drive. And now you got to go break somebody's heart. You got to go play with somebody's emotions, or your emotions got played with, or your heart got broken. These are deep foundational things in every human being life that we talking about right here. Yeah, so don't let society or, just what you've been around and just what you used to make you think sex and romance is just another thing to do. It's the complete opposite. It's one of the most important things you can ever do.